Sup guys, and welcome to a new video. I know it's been 2 weeks since I posted, but I'm sorry and I hope you don't mind. But I've been posting a lot on TikTok recently, so yeah, check it out if you want to. I'm posting a lot of mouthwashing content. Anyways, I'm gonna stop the self-glazing and now gonna talk about my theory about mouthwashing, and I call the theory the 7 deadly responsibilities. So basically, in this theory, I think that the game, like maybe unintentional, but that I think that the 7 deadly sins were represent. Fuck it. Anyways, I think the 7 deadly sins were shown in some way, shape, or form in this game, and I want to talk about it in my theory that maybe this game is about hell. So, some general knowledge before I talk about the details. So, I think that the ship where they are, I think it's supposed to represent hell. Cause if you go on Steam and read the description or so, there was this line, I think it was God is not watching or so. And this is what I found interesting, cause they were in a ship that was stranded, but God isn't watching over hell. Satan's watching over hell. So this is why I thought that may be interesting. And I think that Polly, this pony, I think he's supposed to represent the devil. I know this sounds insane and really stupid, but hear me out, okay? Before I start this video though, I just want you guys to know and read the trigger warnings. And if you feel comfortable with those themes, then I hope you enjoy the video. And also, I would if you could support me and subscribe to me and like my video, it would be very nice. But anyways, now enjoy the video. So let's start with the first sin. Sloth, the ship crash. The game starts with the color green being present. Green is the color to often symbolize and show hope. So the game immediately starts with hope. Everything's fine, they're on the ship. Curly is the captain, nothing special, everything's fine. But then, immediately, the color switches from green to red, which showed that the hope is immediately crushed at the beginning, showing us there will be no hope in this whole story. You know, what I found always interesting is that in a lot of scenes the color red and the color green were represented. You could say, yeah, it starts with green and with red, just because it was a coincidence, you know? But, a lot of scenes with Curly involve the color green, while a lot of scenes with Jimmy have red in them. And later on, when everything is really fucked up, it's only red. And I just think that it was so interesting, because they always showed those bits of hope when it was green, but it was immediately crushed when it was turned red. And then throughout the game, it's green, red, and then it's only red. And then it's only red, because everything is destroyed. I also, it has nothing to do with the theory, but I also just want to talk about the colors in this game are very well picked, because it's aesthetic, and I don't know, it's just, this game just has such a mood that other games can't show, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's old, the old pixelated style, or maybe just the colors or the sounds, but yeah, I just want to talk about that. Yeah, sorry. Anyways, as we know, Curly stops the crash and has to live in agony now. He's in this form of almost dead, but he still survived, surprisingly. So, how I was taught about hell is that when you go to hell, you get tortured over and over again, and you always live in pain and agony, and there's nothing that can save you. You just live in the state of pain forever. And when the ship crashed, imagine this, okay? When the ship crashed, Curly died, and then he was as he was reborn as a sinner. He always lives in pain, because he's almost dead. He doesn't have skin, his arms, his legs, everything's almost gone. And he gets tortured again in the way that Jimmy always force feeds him the painkillers. Yo, this whole video is gonna sound so stupid and weird, But like, you guys really need to hear me out, cause I think I'm onto something here. And also, as we play the game, a lot of people think that Curly crashed the ship, but it turns out that it was actually Jimmy, the plot twist in this whole game. Now you might ask what the ship crash or anything about it has to do with Sloth. So let me explain it to you. Sloth is the sin of laziness, like a sin we like all commit, like not doing our homework or not leaving the chicken out to melt when a mortar asked us like 3 hours ago. And in this case, crashing the ship, knowing you're destroying and stealing the lives of others. Like, a lot, like Jimmy, like every character in this, like was put through a lot, like actually in a disturbing amount of trauma or everything. And like, they're all still fought, like, you know, it doesn't have to do with the ship, like, I know a lot of, like, the most traumas are from the ship, but like, still, people can like have traumas or stuff happening to them when you don't know actually what's going on. And it's then like, and it's just like then, oh yeah, I could kill myself, but I'm still fighting. Like, I'm fighting for myself. And like, every one of those characters fought. Jimmy too, I'm not saying that, but he wanted to crash the ship. He wanted to give up. And not only giving up by just killing himself, no. He wants to kill everyone with him. He wants everyone, the people who like fought for themselves, like always knew that killing yourself or harming yourself was nothing that's going to help you. These people like they did so much in Jimmy, just threw all the effort away because he was lazy. It was just peak laziness. It's like, I think my theory is why he crashed the ship is because of what he did to Anya, which I'm going to talk about later. What I also think is because later on in the game we like find out that Anya like hid the gun, so Jimmy couldn't get the gun and like, you know, do bad stuff. And I think that Jimmy searched for the gun. I think he searched for a gun to kill himself first, because I don't think his first mind was to kill everyone with him. I think the first thing he wanted to do is kill himself. Because if he killed himself, like, Anya can't then Anya can't, like, report him. And, like, he was searching, probably, and he didn't found it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he searched for it a lot, or, like, just a few minutes and didn't found it, was immediately angry. But, like, still, the gun was in the ship, so if he just, like, searched more and more, he could have found it. But he instead chose the lazy option, just crashing the ship. It's really hard to find a gun in like such a big ship, but it's easy crashing that ship. It's easy destroying lives. It's easy putting away all the effort you just gave in or others gave in for your own good. Like, you get what I mean, right? Like, I hope I don't sound like I'm... By the way, even though I'm a Jimmy fan, I just want to say that I do not defend or support his actions. And I just want to say that I'm trying to talk as neutral as possible. Like, I love everyone in this whole game, like, seriously, every character is so peak. But, like, I just want you to know that I'm not defending anyone in this. And I'm just gone. Let's be honest. Except Daisuke and like Anya, they're all sinned. Okay, they're all sinned or did something bad, if you want to say it. Okay, you know what? Like, let's take Swansea out too. Like Jimmy and Curly, like did like some really messed up, fucked up shit. But yeah, I just want to clarify: I'm not supporting any actions in this game, nor did I defend anyone, except Anya and Daisuke. So, let's continue. Also, like, after the Anya scene, we like have those have this conversation with Jimmy and Curly, where like Jimmy talks about like it's all broken or they can fix it, and like Curly is like, yeah, but all those hard work, like they were talking about like they were building up everything. No, Jimmy was saying that they were like all those years of efforts are basically just thrown away. Like it's just like, imagine you are best friends with the people and with a person, and like all those hard efforts, like you're always defending him, and like you just like you did so much to yet to be in the place you are right now, and then he just crashes the whole ship. Like, I think it's really a lot of depressing stuff happened in this, but I think it's the most depressing part in this whole game is just really the ship crash, because I don't know, it's just scary knowing that another person can like take all those hard efforts you had and just throw them away. Like that's honestly extremely scary. Also, what I loved in this game is how everyone was so realistic and like amazingly written. Like all the choices made like actual sense in the situations they were in. Like a lot of people say that Anya like didn't take the responsibility when she killed herself, but I'm gonna be so honest, like the way she was written, like it made so much sense, and I actually don't, like honestly her decision makes sense, let's be honest. Like they were written very realistically, like the way they acted, they interacted. Like people say Anya is a bad rap of an SA victim, but let's be for real. If you are on a ship where the captain is the person who hurt you, you're not going to like defend yourself or like talk or like, you know what I mean, you're not trying to stand up for yourself, because you have no other choice than to listen to the person who hurt you. And that's what makes it realistic for me. Like, because if they were on planet Earth and Jimmy tried to talk to Anya, she wouldn't talk to him at all. Like, she wouldn't do any of that. Of course she wouldn't. But she was in a situation where she had no choice other than to interact with the people she was in. And I think people just need to realize what situation they were in, and like how mentally destroyed everyone is in this game. But I'm going to talk about Anya later on. And now let's go to the second sin. So the second sin is pride. Who is the captain? So Jimmy says he's now the new captain and wants everyone to call Curly. Like, he doesn't want anyone to call Curly the captain. He's the captain. Jimmy is now the new captain. After what happened. The thing is, what I found really interesting is that like Jimmy doesn't like taking responsibility. Okay? Like he doesn't like that at all. Understandable, I don't too. I don't like responsibility at all. But I just found it so interesting that he doesn't like responsibility or like bathing out the actions, like stuff he did. But he wants to be the captain. Like he wants to be praised and called the captain and stuff. But like being the captain is like the most that you take if you're on a ship, being the captain, you take the most responsibility, which I found very interesting. You know, like you don't want to take responsibility, but you want a role where you have to take responsibility. Like responsibility is like the only thing about being a captain. And this is what made his character like really interesting, and like was like, okay, that it's interesting, you know. And it was sort of a karma, cause he like crashed the ship, so he couldn't he crashed the ship, so he didn't have to take responsibility anymore. But because he did that, he has to take no more responsibility. Not only the Anya thing, but now that he's the new captain. Like it was just the biggest karma in gaming history for real. So I think we all know that like Jimmy is a very grumpy and annoyed person. Like we all know that. But when we watched the gameplay to make this video for this, there were actually a lot of scenes where he was like actually pretty nice and really friendly with the people he talked with. Maybe that was just acting, of course. He could just be lying, but you know, maybe like we all know that like Jimmy is mentally unstable. Like we saw that like Curly did the psych evil, or I don't know how it's called, sorry. Like did that, and he changed some answers, So I think Jimmy could go on board with him. Because I think that if Anya did his psych eval, he wouldn't be on the ship. But we're gonna talk about this later too. Anyways, when a person starts to sin or like do something that like isn't good, the more the person does it, the more the person changes into a very bad direction. And I just think Jimmy is the perfect example, because the more he was bathing in pride, like taking responsibility, being the captain, being a big role, the more the game like went on. He grew more gruesome. He got worse. Like sinning like totally destroyed everything about him. Like turning him into an animal. And I just really love that the game like shows how sinning or doing something bad like really destroys the person you are, because I think he could have been a good person if he like really just got help. Because we had those scenes where he was talking nice, where he was talking friendly, where it just was a normal guy. The normal everyday dude. And the thing is, what I also found sad is that like Curly like witnessed him become from a good person become into a mentally unstable person. Oh but no, scrap that. Like Jimmy saw him from a mentally unstable person to the worst version of himself. And that really makes the game so sad, to be honest. Like, because I think that Curly knew while he was laying down there, he could have fixed everything. Like, if he just did better. And he did a lot of stuff, but if he did better, he could have maybe saved Jimmy and everyone. And that really like, that's honestly really fucking sad. And I don't know about you, but like seeing a person you like love and like who's your friend, like just the best person turning into the worst version of themselves, and you could have saved them and made them better. You know that they're not a bad person, but you just see them growing into this person you don't even recognize anymore. Like you don't even know who you're talking to, who you're looking at. Curly was just laying there and seeing how everything went down. Like everything was getting worse. It was getting more disturbing. And like Jimmy was just bathing in the pride. He was in a feeling of epilepsy, in an ecstasy, sorry. And that just destroyed everything. By the way, I know this is random, but I'm a bit sick. So if you think I sound like whiny or like, I don't know, weird, it's just because I'm sick. So yeah, I hope you don't mind. Jimmy after the crash was like just always like just saying that like he thought he was a good captain. I could save everything, I could do everything, I could fix everything. And the moment later on in the like end of the game where like Curly, Swansea, the only one in the whole crew, he was the one who told him he was a bad captain. He didn't take responsibility. He couldn't fix anything. He was the first guy to tell him that in the last. And that was the point of the game where like Jimmy completely snapped. Like downright bad. Like and I think that a lot of people have like those moments, you know? Like the moment where you like think you're doing something good, or like you don't want to realize what's happening. You know what's going on. You know everyone's dying on the ship, but you don't want to realize it. You don't want to know it. And then there's this person who either helps or breaks you by telling you that you're in the wrong. Like there's two reactions a person can get. Either they're like very happy you told them that and they're going to stop, or they're going to completely snap because they're not bad. They know they're doing the right thing. They know they're in the wrong. They know they didn't fix anything. They know what they've done. They know that it's the end. It's the end. And then at the whole end, Jimmy realized what he have done. And that it's all gone now. All those efforts and years. He put Curly in the cryptopod, I think it's called, and gave him the responsibility, cause he know he can't take it. Curly was the one who was able to take responsibility. Jimmy wasn't, and he realized that when everything was already gone. And just hoped that Curly, his friend, was the one who could save them. I just realized that the end could also be like the sin of Sloth, cause he ruined everything and again then took responsibility and just threw it on Curly. Curly, the one who's like he can't do anything, he can't even talk. He gave him the responsibility to fix everything. And Curly just knew it was all over. And I think in the game How Fish is made by the same developer, we find out that Curly also died. But I don't know. But I just wanted to mention that. So, the third sin. Gluttony. The Painkillers. So after the crash, Curly is in the worst state a human can physically be in, just flesh and bandages. It just looked so disturbing. And I just wanted to know if a person can actually be in the state Curly was after crash. Cause it's just it's horrible, imagining people being in such a state. Anyways, to numb his pain, he needs to take the Painkillers, which Anya is supposed to give him, but she passes that responsibility to Jimmy. And this could be seen as Anya not wanting to sin and forcefully stuff the Painkillers in Curly like Jimmy does. I think she also doesn't want to do it cause she was forced to do in specific act, and that it shows that she always gives it to Jimmy cause she sadly witnessed that he could hurt people, that he can hurt people, and it doesn't bother him cause he hurt her very badly. So, do you guys remember when I said in the beginning that I like hell, where you get tortured over and over again and you cannot die and you live in this state forever? We don't know if Curly wanted to die in this state or if he just wanted to continue to live. But maybe that Jimmy always gives him the painkillers and every time he does it is more forceful. Maybe that shows that this was his hell. He got tortured by living. Torture is always shown as people harming you, doing stuff that hurts you. But what if your torture, you getting tortured, is basically you living? Living is enough torture for you. What I also found interesting, but what nobody talked about, but I realized, is that food or food or stuff you digest, actually plays a big role in this, sweetener, cake, painkillers, mouthwash, curly slag. Notice that every time I said a thing you could eat in this game, always got worse. And this is hell. It will always get worse. It starts with stuff like sweetener and cake, stuff you can eat, Then painkillers, something you can eat, but only if you're in a bad state. Mouthwash, the first thing in this game that you can not eat or drink, but it's still there. And the last thing that was eaten was Curly's leg, and that destroyed the entire humanity in this. You can say the humanity was destroyed when Jimmy did that to Anya, but I think the humanity in this game was destroyed when Curly was forced to eat his own leg. Because for me that was hell was always in this, but this was the moment everybody, Jimmy and Curly, realized this was hell. This is hell. This isn't a space anymore. They were in hell. Also, I love that maybe the reason it was like this is maybe it was just random, but like I like how they slowly made the food items worse, showing this is horror for me. This is true horror. Like horror isn't for me when it's just like jump scares and like just brutality, violence. For me, horror is like when it just progressively gets worse. Like the horror in this game was so genius. Like I could just yap about how the horror in this game was like so perfectly done. Like honestly, this was like peak horror for me. Not only peak story, peak characters, peak writing, but peak horror. Like honestly, I love this game so much. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the cannibalism in the game. So, at the end, we have this scene where like Jimmy is feeding Curly his own leg so he couldn't survive. And while watching the scene, I had a thought that I didn't think about earlier. So now hear me out. What if Jimmy always agreed to feed Curly his painkillers because he wanted to numb his pain since they were friends, only to later on give him the biggest pain ever. Like, just say everything was fine and they landed on Earth again, and like when they were on Earth, like when they were in public, where Jimmy doesn't have to take responsibility, if you want to say it that way. Like, what if he wanted to hurt him, like, extremely bad? Like, really, like, do the most horrible stuff to him to make him suffer even more. So, but there was still his side. It was like, Curly is my friend. But also the side, he's my enemy. So what if he gave him the painkillers, so his pain can be a bit numb, so that when he hurts him, it doesn't hurt that much as it actually does. I hope that makes sense, but like, or maybe I'm just going too much into the story. Like, honestly, 90% of the stuff I'm going to say doesn't, are just things that happened. But still, what if this was Jimmy's intention throughout the game? Like, I'm going to be honest. After what happened, I think Jimmy doesn't want to be his friend anymore, and Curly doesn't see Jimmy as a friend anymore. But I think the two still have a side where it's like Jimmy or Curly, he is my friend. This little humanity left in them, where he thinks, yeah, he is my friend. But they know what happened, and they're never going to be friends again, and it's just all ruined. That brings me to my next sin. Envy. Jimmy's and Curly's relationship. So, a lot of people ship them and say they are doomed, doomed yaoi. For me, they're doomed friendship. I don't know if doomed friendship even exists, but if they exist, they're my favorite doomed friendship. Because honestly, I just loved how their friendship was written, how it mentally destroyed me so fucking much. Honestly, this whole game just destroyed me. Anya, I feel so bad for her. This game did things to me I'm never going to forgive the game. It really broke me. And you know what? I'm going to say the most wild thing, and you guys really have to hear me, cause okay, just hear me. For me, I relate the most to Jimmy. I don't relate to what he did to Anya, or murdering people. What I mean is that I relate to having a friend, being the friend, and being jealous of the friend. I feel extremely horrible when I feel jealous of my friend, because they're my friend. Hello, how could I ever be jealous of a friend? Whatever it happens, I just I just hate myself so much and like feel really bad. And this is why I like relate to Jimmy. Like only because of like wanting to get praise, not wanting to admit when you do something wrong, and being jealous of your friend. Like the jealousy is the most moderator of him. And I think we all relate to some character in this game. Maybe Curly because you want to see the good in everything, what I do too. Maybe Anya because you as an SA, maybe you as an SA victim, maybe relate to them. Because like I have a mood who is a SA victim, and they say that I relate to her. Or like Swansea, maybe you're an older person and relate to like how he's acting, like why he's so grumpy. Or like you relate to Daisuke because he says, like he never was really good at anything, you know. And this is what makes the game more terrifying, because like you relate to the relationships the game finds the most interesting are Jimmy's and Curly's, Swansea's and Daisuke's, and Anya's and Curly's. They're arguably the most interesting dynamics, because like for like Swansea and Daisuke, they have like this father-son bond. For Jimmy and Curly, they have like this friend-enemy type stuff. And like Anya and Curly, they like, I don't know how to describe it, like friends, but like, you know, like Anya thought she could trust Curly, but in the end Curly didn't do anything. Like she trusted him, told him what happened, and the relationships in this game are very complex and heartbreaking, which is why I like them so much. Like they're actually very well written, and they like make sense, to be honest. Cause like, you know, when I first watched the scene where like Swansea killed Daisuke, I was like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. But like after watching it, it makes sense, you know. Like the stuff the characters do, the relationships, like the actions they proceed, like they all make sense. You know, I think a horror game is more terrifying when the actions are like very realistic and not just like some, you know, like just not drawn into there because it needs to be scary. Like they made realistic choices people would make in real life, you know. Envy, pride, and lust are like the main sins which leads to the tragedy what happened. But I would like say that envy is like the parent and pride and lust are like the children. Because of envy he crashed the ship, but envy and lust, to be honest. Envy, lust, and pride. Yeah, like this was the reason why Jimmy crashed the ship. Those three are like the biggest also what I really love about this game is that it shows how like sinning, like jealousy, like how jealousy breaks life. Like it destroys life, it breaks life, it makes everything worse. And I like really adore the game for this. I know it sounds like glazing, and it maybe is, but I really adore how the game depicted the themes it was depicting, because I think they were very relatable, very good. A lot of people don't think that the Anya representation was good, but for me it wasn't really representation, like it was more story focused. But I still think her choices made a lot of sense, I'm gonna be honest. Now we're going to talk about the next sin, which is greed. Swansea's moral. The theory that Swansea is supposed to symbolize how swans act in real life with their children. Actually, I think it's really canon, cause like why would you name him Swansea? Cause I never heard of this name before. He's the oldest one in the ship, and you could say he has the most responsibility because like he's the oldest one, you know. Like he has children at home, he has a wife. He is on the ship, like he has to do stuff, you know. Swans kill their children, and so their children don't have pain. And Swansea killed Daisuke, so he doesn't have pain anymore. And like almost everyone talks about it. Like the scene where like you close your eyes, Daisuke. It even became a meme, but still a lot of people talk about it. And I think the scene is very important and very well written. But what I'm surprised is that not a lot of people are talking about the stuff Swansea did throughout the game, you know? And the part I mean specifically is like the way he guarded the door. door, I think. Like, wait, let me check. But like throughout the game, he guards that one door. Since he says there's a lot of foam, and because there's a lot of foam, he doesn't let like Jimmy or anyone go in. And the thing is, like, it's later we find out that there was no foam and there was the tripod, and that Jimmy thought he was using a tripod, like keeping it a secret, so he could like save him. Because if you go into that tripod, you like have a chance to be found in the next 20 years. I forgot if it was like confirmed in the game, but I think he like did it because he just wanted Daisuke to have like the spot to be in there for the next 20 years. And that brings me to my next point, which is like Daisuke. Daisuke is like the ship intern and helper. He's the opposite of Swansea since he's the youngest and has the least responsibility. And I think it's clear how Swansea cares about Daisuke. And like honestly, I think they have like the cutest dynamic, like the father and son relationship. I really like it. I really think it's really well made, I'm gonna be honest. So now after this yap, what I mean to say is that Swansea basically sinned by being greedy to make sure Jimmy, Curly and Anya don't have a chance to be saved like 20 years later. But he didn't sin for making sure the youngest, the one with his whole life ahead of him, because like the others were like 30 to 40, had a chance to be found in 20 years. So now it's a question, did Swansea sin? In theory he did, but in his moral he didn't. And it's like, like you could like say like Anya goes to heaven, Curly goes to hell, Jimmy goes to hell, Daisuke goes into heaven. But now we have Swansea. Does he go into hell or does he go into heaven? And like that's the thing, because like 2 are going into heaven, 2 are going into hell, and like where is he going? Like, are more people on the ship going to hell or to heaven? I know this sounds so stupid, like so far stretched, but like I don't know, I think his character, like his moral was the most interesting to me. Cause like in the whole game you like think he's just some drunk dude, like nothing special about him, but like later on the scene we have with Daisuke and then the scene we have with Jimmy, like the gun scene, like it's honestly just so well made. Swansea left the sin of greed behind by killing Daisuke, so he won't be in pain anymore. Meaning that this whole thing of like wanting him to be in the tripod was for nothing. It doesn't make him a morally grey character for like Curly. I rather say he's a sheep in wolf's clothing. And what I also noticed is that when he sins for good reasons. Like he didn't for like Jimmy, he sinned for bad intentions. But Swansea sinned for good intentions, Which is why I would say he's like a very good guy. Like very good. I already put a trigger warning at the beginning, but I'm still going to put it here because like it's still an extreme theme. So yeah. Lost. Anya's secret. What I found, like this game is really heartbreaking, very sad, but like Anya's, like really her story, it mentally, like Anya's story and Jimmy's and Curly's friendship, like, and Daisuke's and Swansea's relationship. Those 3 things broke me so fucking much. Like my mental health is like down. Like Anya and Daisuke. Those 2 deserve so much better than what actually happened, and Anya more, cause like it's just so sickening. Like seeing the game and like seeing what Anya's going through, and then people are like saying, yeah, she didn't take responsibility. She's hot and like makes sexualized out of her. And stuff, and it's just really sad because like how can you make such type of art when the character literally went through the worst thing a human can go through? I still don't understand why Jimmy did that to her, to be honest. I never understand that part, and I'm not going to defend it at any point. Like I'm not defending what Jimmy did, not at all. And the scene, let's not off topic, off talk about the stories. Fuck Pony Express, cause why didn't they put any locks on the sleeping rooms? Honestly, why? Why on the medical doors? I don't understand this. This is just so sad. It's just so sad knowing that if they had the lock, this wouldn't have happened. You know? And this is why it's also important that women and people in general have a safety, because nobody wants that to happen except those weird fuckers who like those stuff. But yeah, let's not get on track again. So after that happened, Anya was every person just shut silent, because if a person goes through this, I can speak because I don't have experience of that, but if a person goes through this, they just don't talk, or their whole life is, the whole personality, everything's drained, because what you want to do, you can't laugh after what happened, and a lot of people don't realize that this game is in the point of view of Jimmy. People say she's weak and sad. Of course she's weak and sad if she is in the area of her abuser, do you expect her to be strong? It's just so frustrating, because people say, yeah, this doesn't make sense that he did this to her and then she still talked to him. She had no choice. She wouldn't have talked to him if he wasn't the captain and her life depended on it. She didn't want to die. She didn't want it. But she also didn't want a baby. She didn't want to take responsibility in this way, that she knows she doesn't deserve this responsibility. This isn't her responsibility. It's a responsibility that Jimmy passed on to her, saying that it's her responsibility, not his. And when it just rubs me the wrong way when people say, yeah, she didn't take responsibility by killing herself, because it wasn't her responsibility. If a person does that to you, it's their responsibility, child support and everything. It's not her responsibility for being a victim. Hello, this sounds insane. Telling a victim it's your fault, basically, The first sin to be begun in this was the sin of lust. And throughout the whole game, the stuff that happens gets worse, killing other people, killing yourself, cannibalism, just torture, those stuff. And the thing is, I'm gonna be honest, I hope you all think that what happened to Anya was the most horrifying thing. Because let's say the other stuff were terrifying because they were inhuman. But what happened to Anya was just you can't even describe it. It was really the worst thing a person could go through. Curly was the worst thing a human can go through physically. For her, it was mentally and physically. There's also that pixel theory, the theory that the scene where Anya says there's a dead pixel. If you look at it and Curly says he doesn't see it. The theory says that it shows that Curly doesn't want to look what happened. He doesn't want to look deeper. He doesn't want to see Jimmy as a rapist. He doesn't want it, but it happened, and he can't do anything about it. And he did not do anything about it. A lot of people say Curly's innocent, and no, he isn't. Of course, he is not at the same level of bad as Jimmy. I'm not saying that, but you could defend him in this whole game. But the scene where Anya tells him that she's pregnant, and he says, who would you sleep with? And she says, Captain, I told you. She told him what happened, and he didn't want to believe it. And I think that was the moment for Anya where she realized she was in hell. She was alone. No one on her side. Of course, there's also this meme where if Anya went to if Anya told Swansea, and Daisuke, and yeah, it's just so true that it's actually sad. Like, if she told, like, Swansea, like, things would have gone differently, but she told Curry because she trusted him, and because he did that, like, not support her, like, not help her. I think it, like, was that was the moment for her where, like, everything broke. Like, she knew this was pure hell. She was in hell and not on Earth anymore. Not in space even. Not even in space, sorry. Anyways, I don't want to really talk about this because I don't want to spread any misinformation because I'm not an SA victim and I don't want to talk for SA victims. So I'm sorry if I offended you or said anything wrong in this. Please let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm going to switch now on to the last sin because, yeah, I don't think I have, like, the right position to talk about how she failed, Now, after going through all the 6 sins, we have the last one, the 7th. And that is Rev, the whole ending of this game. You could, like, say that did the game begin with, like, violence and Rev because it began with, like, the crash ship. So immediately the game introduces you to how violent its nature is. Since they are in a ship and the company, I guess, wants them to feel like they're still on Earth, they made, like, this big screen where it, like, switches from day to noon to night. And there I have a small theory. So, like, it changes from day to noon and to night. What I found interesting though is that at the beginning of the game, you, like, have this scene where, like, it's Curly's birthday and he, like, cuts the cake and, like, it's just awkward silence because Jimmy was getting mad after Curly told him the bad news. And in this scene, the background was noon, so it was yellow. And from all of these characters, like, Curly's the only one who has blonde hair. And later on, after the after crash, we get a lot of the time the screen is, like, noon. And I think that maybe it's because, yeah, it's noon, but also because I think the yellow is supposed to represent Curly, like, because Curly was like the peaceful captain, like, everyone was fine, everyone was great. But when, like, Jimmy was the new captain, later on we get this thing where Swansea breaks the TV with the X, showcasing that now that Jimmy has the full control and Curly isn't the captain anymore, he showcases that he's just a bad captain. Like, the system breaks after Jimmy becomes the new captain. If hell is showcased in shows or media or games, it's mostly showcased as this, like, very violent place with demons killing and torturing, like, everywhere they go. And later on in this game we have, like, this graveyard scene where, like, Jimmy and Swansea are having this showdown battle, if you want to call it that way. And I think it's supposed to showcase, like, how, like, demons, they're just running around the dead. Like, everyone was dead except them, and, like, they're still, like, sinned by just being, like, so violent, like, chasing each other, wanting to kill each other, like, running around the dead corpses while they just want to kill each other and, like, do really bad stuff. Out of this whole game, the ending's the most bloody and violent thing in it. Like, it has the most violent and disturbing scenes. Like, it has the ultrasound scene, the cannibalism scene. Like, just everything wrong with humanity in the last scene. And the thing is just that, and one more thing I want to say, and it's just, like, a really small theory, and I don't think it made any sense, but I think Polly, like, this mascot is supposed to represent the devil. I know it doesn't make any sense, but, like, hear me out. So there's this one, like, I saw a lot of people have been saying it. I don't know if it's really true, so please tell me in the comments, but a lot of people say that angels make themselves look, like, scary to scare away the evil, and the devil, or, like, demons, make themselves beautiful to, like, attract people, And the thing is, Swansea is, like, this old man, like, you wouldn't think, like, he just looks like your typical drunk dad, but he's just a very good-hearted person. And now let's take this logic. Polly looks, like, cute, like, you wouldn't think anything of it. but he's secretly the devil. Like, he saw everything. He just stood in his corner and saw everything went down. At the end, he even has a scene where he like talks and such. And like, if the Pony Express ship is like hell, then who would be the devil? No other than Polly. The scene at the beginning where like Anya tells Curly about the Jimmy, that Jimmy is attracted to cartoon horses. You know, it was like we all thought, like it's funny, okay? Like it's a really big meme, but like, you know, they were in hell and they didn't know before yet. Like they just all were there. They didn't know what was going to happen in the future. They didn't know that they were trapped. They didn't know that, and they didn't know that Polly is going to be like the devil. So they just made fun of him. You know, like it's just funny, haha. You know, that's like it's so weird, but still, it's just this was like the last moments before everything went down. You know, before stuff really got bad and it was just hopeless. But I think that was enough for now. I yapped for almost a whole hour. Like, this is actually insane. This is the longest video I ever made. And probably ever will, because I don't know if I ever find a game where, like, I like, this game I analyzed it so much because it's just really so beautiful and perfect, you know? But let's stop the glazing. And yeah, just, I hope you liked my theory. I hope you found it interesting. You can interact with me in the comments. Like, you can write your own theory. You could write your thoughts about my theory about this game representing hell. I hope I didn't offend anybody by saying some stuff. If I did, then please tell me, because, you know, I don't want to say anything wrong. And it's just my first time making a theory video, so I don't know if my theories even make sense. But yeah, I hope you also liked the artworks. Tell me which one was your favorite. And yeah, I don't know what much else to say. Just enjoy life, like, have fun, subscribe and like, please. That supports me. And also you can watch like my TikToks, because I make more content there. And recently I'm making a lot of mouthwashing content. And yeah, stay safe and stay away from people named Jimmy. Bye.